Won't Get Fooled Again takes us to mid-season 2, which opens repeating the incident that saw Crichton shot through a wormhole. Except this time, instead of winding up on Moya, we see him lying on a table in a hospital. It's a touching moment between father and son as he finds out he's okay.
What are you doing? Son! I'm not your son!
Well, there is touching, technically. Aaron is the doctor who has him put under, and after the titles, ignores his remarks about being on a commerce planet to say her name is Dr. Fairchild. It's been a week since he crashed, and attacking a parent is atypical in that situation.
He looked like he was human, but he had alien goo on the inside.
It was supposed to be nougat. Crichton finally plays along with her and asks to go apologize to his father, but he knows this isn't real.
Won't get fooled again.
Hey!
The aliens aren't going to fall for the same trick twice. That was the title of the episode, inspired by a song by The Who, just in case anyone was wondering if I was going to mention it. Crichton is still going along with everything, even when his buddy shows up this time, saying Crichton screwed up and the big cheese is angry, and that he's not getting out of here without seeing a shrink, Dr. Kaminsky.
Thank you, Charles.
Zan cosplaying as Slender Man. Crichton isn't buying it.
Psychiatrists don't come in blue.
Do you have a problem with people of color?
Not at all. Some of his best friends are blue. Well, one is at least. He's not buying that this is reality. He's trying to figure out who's behind this little mind game, settling on Zan's people, the Delphians. Finally, he's cut loose and has a run-in with... words can't do justice. I don't know what I'm even doing here. This episode is so next level, I feel like I've got to develop new maths just to talk about it.
Hey, TK, how you doing? And ooh, Mr. There, how you going?
See, I'm afraid it looks like I'm phoning it in. Slip it into the marathon so nobody notices. This episode has declared it's going to be weird, and I can find no fault with that. Crichton confesses to Gary here over beer that he thinks this is some kind of an experiment to examine his reactions. So he's just going to play it cool for now.
Hi.
Looking like you're sweating a little, Crichton. Well, he finds Scorpius at the bar, except Scorpius is also in the band, wearing a costume. Since he's the only one not in any way playing a role in this craziness, Crichton concludes he must be the one who's running it. On the psychiatrist's couch, he tells Kaminsky that Scorpius has to be trying to drive him nuts. He's just not seeing the angle. Why try to convince Crichton that he never left Earth? Of course, as Kaminsky notes, there are other answers, and Crichton admits, yeah, maybe I'm still on Moya and I'm just insane. All told, you picked a nice place for it. Well, this new project head, Logan, we're told, is coming in and is a nasty piece of work. Crichton is sure, oh, here it is. This is Scorpius. Well, not quite.
So, you're the reckless son of a bitch who refused to abort, fainted, and wrecked a multi-zillion-dollar module.
Ask me.
Ah, astronauts. Cockier than God, all of them.
Please make this a spin-off. I could watch a series about this guy.
Farscape project.
Sir, the project could still bring great benefits to this organization.
John's experiment will pave the way for deep space exploration, sir.
Cock it already.
The Logan.
Put it with the cards. Now,
Crichton has just become my spirit animal. He figures out what this is about, because despite being what is undeniably a complete and utter jackass, Logan, the nasty piece of work dealing with a man smoking his own cigar while flicking business cards at his face, says, let's try testing your theory again, and you can fly it. He presumes Scorpius is using this to try to get him to explain how he made the wormhole, except he can't because he doesn't know how, and won't because blow me. Crichton shows himself out, chased by his dad and his pal, asking why he would throw away this golden opportunity while insulting a man with a disability. Well, he'll do you one better. Well, That just broke the simulation. Either they have to pretend that murdering someone gets him off with a slap on the wrist, or he's going to get pleaded down to community service and the sentence will be flying a spaceship. He heads down to the bar with Gary, where Dr. Fairchild introduces him to her friend Jessica. Crichton's fine with getting his freak on with this Chiana clone, but Scorpius interrupts. Well, Crichton's not listening.
I got a new theory on life. You want to hear it? Oh, yeah, man. Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
I love Anthony Simcoe. Why is he not in more stuff? Scorpius appears on the hood, trying to get Crichton to knock this off, but Crichton has a better idea. Knock him off. He crashes into the oncoming semi. Crichton wakes up on the table again. Dr. Fairchild is there and says, oh yeah, they're all fine despite the head-on crash. Personally, I'd have just started the simulation over and written it off as a strange dream, but they're going to try to roll with it. Gotta give the sim masters marks for not loading a save at this point. Well, they've decided, hey, fuck with our simulation, we'll fuck with you, and send his dead mom in. She really turns the screws about everything he's lost and the fact that he is killed. This is really messing with him, so he heads to the bar to talk to Scorpius. Only now, when he's finally ready to talk, he's talking to the guy from the band. You can't even count on your own nemesis to show up and menace you. Well, his mom comes into the dive with her IV stand, and it's really pushing Crichton's buttons. It's implied that he wasn't there for when she passed, and now he's really starting to unravel. And this is a man who drove headlong into a truck. He comes across Crace, who's a cop naturally, and doesn't see that Crichton has finally been pushed too far. Crichton beats the crap out of him and takes Crace's service weapon. Perfect! Nothing is more certain to convince people you're not crazy than waving around a gun. He returns to Logan's office, where the others have gathered to address his problems, including Logan himself, who looks quite good for a man who fell multiple stories onto concrete.
Can we please get on with our meeting now?
Damn, can't even go on a killing spree without messing it up. Back on the table he goes.
Assault on a police officer, theft of police property, illegal possession of a firearm, 5 counts of attempted murder. That comes to $29.40.
Fascist. Well, Scorpius arrives, finally, and explains that he's not the one doing this. No, a Scarran, the enemies of the Peacekeepers. Well, one of them, I'm sure they make so many. One of them captured Crichton on the Commerce Planet. He explains that won't get fooled again is correct, because the Scarran's goal isn't to fool him, it's to break him.
Your mind is about to crack, and I cannot allow that. I was here first.
He licked Crichton's brain, so no one else can have it. Scorpius explains that when Crichton wouldn't give up the information, a chip was put inside of his brain, with a clone of Scorpius' personality. It's what made Crichton do or not do certain things this season, and Crichton decides to name him Harvey after Harvey the Rabbit. Good name, I like it. Scorpius is here for the wormhole information, naturally, and was supposed to be hidden, but drastic times drastic measures. He's had to reveal himself so Crichton won't give up what Harvey is here to steal. Crichton is still armed in the real world, he explains, because the gun is too weak to kill a Scarran. But it can be of use if... And that's all we have time for. Tune in for the next visitation from your evil passenger. Now it's time for...
Come on, you're a male.
It's just the way you are wired. Nothing to be ashamed of, not when females are willing.
They get all up in his business, but the coup de grace is...
Crichton is mine.
You think Jim Henson would have been pleased to know the end result of all his hard work would be a sophisticated puppet in a gimp suit doing S&M on someone? Things continue to spiral from there until... That ends badly.
Freeze!
Ah, Officer Friendly.
Do you understand these rights as I have explained them to you? Well, do you, punk?
No.
Then I can't arrest you!
Police officers hate this one weird trick.
And I was wondering if you would mind participating with me in a little Luxon bonding ritual.
If you've ever wondered what it'd be like if Sylvester the Cat was camp.
Gianna.
Gianna.
Yeah.
She wants to watch.
What do we even have left but...
Oedipus complex? I'm not sure I grasp that concept.
From what I have heard, it's not complex, just complicated. Crichton winds up in a disco, which is an improvement, but then Aaron starts to make an appearance. More like the real Aaron, and soon it all stops. She explains that Scorpius kidnapped Crichton, brought him to this underground chamber, but she's killed him. She's really pushing for him to talk, while Crichton is really sweating, a sign that Harvey said meant that the Scarran was close. They give off lots of heat.
Frehley, then. Stay.
That was improvised, if you're curious. She throws Crichton back into the disco. In reality, the Scarran is cranking shit up until Crichton finally collapses, apparently dead. He's not, though. His brain signals are masked. So Crichton activates that overload like we saw in Thrown for a Loss, and when the Scarran investigates, shoves it into his mouth. Boom! How you like the taste of that? Yeah, Harvey stopped his brain functions just long enough to fool the instruments, but now it's time to get back to normal, and that includes covering up Crichton's knowledge of the chip. Ah, crap.
I won't trouble you again. Until I need to.
Won't Get Fooled Again is a must-see, as it introduces us to Harvey, and the crucial plot point that there is a chip in Crichton's head. I give this my highest recommendation. It is easy to see why people were so anxious to see this one, even if I don't have much to add to it this time. This episode handles its subject matter like watching a champion b-ball player effortlessly sinking three-pointers. It has chosen weirdness as its medium, and it is Picasso. What's more, there is a logic in its madness, and there is a point in its absurdity. It's not an oddball to be laughed at and then passed. It is weird by design. It is weird for a reason, and it leads to a payoff. And it's not exclusively the comedy. Some of it gets very emotional as well. As if all of that wasn't great enough, introducing Scorpius as an ally of necessity is a wonderful development. This episode is an achievement on every level. The writing, the acting, the directing, the costuming, the effects, the music, the lighting. You would think that what is in effect a sequel to A Human Reaction would be diminishing returns. Instead, it wins the lottery. Now, where we go from here depends upon a choose-your-own-adventure moment. You see, the next new review in this is Die Me Dichotomy, which is the end of Season 2. Except, it comes after the three-part story, Liars, Guns, and Money, which I did 11 years ago, which itself comes after The Ugly Truth, which I also did about 11 years ago. And it occurred to me that might be long enough to have forgotten what happened. Because those stories then set up what takes place in Die Me Dichotomy, I incorporated them into this marathon. But they are technically restorations, so if you want to, you can just skip those 4 if you want to go on to just the new stuff. However, if you're even slightly not remembering every detail, you may want to check them out just to be caught up, because that episode assumes that you have seen everything that leads up to it. Just to forewarn you, I slipped up on Zan's name and called her Zan in The Ugly Truth, though I did fix it in Liars, Guns, and Money. But yes, you can go on to The Ugly Truth or Die Me Dichotomy, dealer's choice.
Put it with the cards. Now listen up. I can't afford another failure. We get your sorry project right on the second attempt. Quit it with the cards.